Allah. La ilaha. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alhamdulillah. Alhamdulillah. Ahmaduhu wa asta'inuhu wa astadihi wa astaghfiruhu wa umminu bihi jalla wa ala wa la akfuruhu wa ashhadu an la ilaha illallah wa ashhadu anna Muhammadan abduhu wa rasuluhu. As-salahu bil huda wa din al-haq liyadhhiruhu ala din kullihi walau karihal mushrikun. All praise belongs to Allah. We praise Him. We seek His help, His assistance, and His guidance. We believe in Him and do not disbelieve in Him. I bear witness that there is no God but Allah, and Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam is a servant and messenger. Allah sent him, that is Muhammad, with Deen al-Haq, the religion, the way, the methodology of truth. And this way of life known as Islam will rise to its proper position in this world, whether the mushriks like it or not. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Inna Allaha yahmaru bil adli wal ihsani wa itai dil kurba wa yanha nil fashai wal munkari wal bagi ya'ithakum la'alakum tadhakkarun. Allah commands justice, the doing of good, and liberality to kith and kin. He forbids all shameful deeds and injustice and rebellion. He instructs you that you may receive admonition. فَمَنْ يَرِيدِ اللَّهُ أَنْ يَهْدِيَهُ يَشْرَحْ صَدْرَهُ لِلْإِسْلَامِ. Those whom in Allah's plan willeth to guide, He opens their breast to Islam. Ya ayyuha alladhina amanu attaqullaha haqqa tuqatihi wa la tamutuna illa wa antum muslimun. O you believe, fear Allah as He should be feared, and do not die except in a state of Islam or submission to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Wa tasimu bihablillahi jami'an wa la tafarraqu. And hold fast all together by the rope which Allah stretches out for you, and be not divided amongst yourselves. And remember with gratitude Allah's favor on you. And the greatest of that favors is this: Kuntum khayra umatin ukrijat lil nasi tamaruna bil ma'rufi wa tanhauna 'anil munkar wa tu'minuna billah. You are the best peoples evolved or raised up for mankind, enjoining what is right, forbidding what is wrong, and believing in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. أما بعد فإن أصدق الحديث كتاب الله وأوثق الأمور كلمة التقوى وخير الملال ملة إبراهيم وخير السنن سنة محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم وأشرف الحديث ذكر الله. The most truthful of discourses is the book of Allah. The most trustworthy word is taqwa, or fear of Allah. The best of the communities is the community of Prophet Ibrahim. The best way of life is the sunnah of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam. The remembrance of Allah is the most glorious of all things. Aqulu qawli hadha wa astaghfirullah li wa lakum. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Today is the 11th of February. It is a culmination of what is called in Iran the 10 days of dawn. That is, Imam Khomeini returned to Iran on the 1st of February, and then the next 10 days they call those next 10 days led up to the whole government at that time collapsing, and they established the Islamic Revolution in Iran. And we're a little bit different from all the other. I wouldn't think that anyone else in this region except the Shia Masjid are talking about this today, because the people that manage and control those outfits are not like we are. We're a group of people that was waiting, studying, and hoping for an Islamic revival. You know, back in the 70s, many of the groups here, in fact, when Maulana Maududi from Pakistan came over here in 71, he met with African Americans from here. They went up to New York to visit with him. I've seen pictures they took with him, because in those days they considered Maulana Maududi as kind of a mujaddid, a reviver. In fact, to put it truthfully, most of the literature we studied here in America, the Sunni Muslims, came from Pakistan, and it was most of it was written by Maulana Maududi. A lot of it was written by Maulana Maududi. So we were very familiar with this personality. So in those days, not only African Americans, but Arabs and others in the so-called Sunni world was expecting Islamic Revolution to come from Pakistan or Egypt, because the Ikhwan al-Muslimin was located in Egypt, of course, but they was, at that time, the Ikhwan al-Muslimin was kind of underground, not really underground, but they had it pretty hard back in the 60s. One session back in the 50s, the mid-50s, another session in the 60s. And after each period, they had to regroup and get it back together again, because the governments over there is pretty deadly on Muslim movements and organizations. But anyway, everybody expected something to happen in Pakistan or in Egypt. No one was expecting a struggle to evolve in Iran. So everybody was shocked, although all during 1978, they had students all over America, all over the world, and all over Iran, demonstrations every day. And everybody was trying to figure out, well, what's going on over there? And then the new names, we was hearing names that we recognize, Ayatollahs and all of that. Nobody ever heard of an Ayatollah here in the U.S. What's an Ayatollah? And so I remember some of the first pictures we saw of Imam Khomeini when he was in Paris before he returned to Iran. He was there for a few months. He looked like a old-time Sufi, sitting on a carpet, the turban and all that. And we just said, this is a nice guy. But we didn't understand where he was really coming from until the information began to hit us about what was really going on. So when the Islamic Revolution jumped off in Iran, it caught everybody by surprise, except the Iranians. It caught the world, and it caught the Americans by surprise. So the period from February the 1st up until February the 11th or 10th is what's called there the 10 days of dawn. That's the period between when Imam Khomeini returned, because he was in exile for 14 years, when he returned to Iran, and then when the revolution culminated. And that's called, they just finishing today there, or they've already finished those, what we call the 10 days of dawn. And we wanted to mention that before we go on to our subject, because we've been a part of that struggle. One of the reasons that we have severe isolation and cut off from them, from the rest of the Muslims here, this masjid used to be just packed from wall to wall with Muslims. Why it's not like that now? It's not that we don't care. In a way, we don't care, but that's the price you have to pay. It's not a price you have to pay. It's normal. You notice that Iran right now is suffering from every kind of boycott, sanction, and anything you can happen. There ain't nobody really jumping off about it. But if you go and look at the derivatives from that government, you'll see the Muslims are still fighting hard in Yemen, right? Because of support from Iran. The biggest, richest Arab country in the world, killing the people and bombing the people of the poorest Arab country in the world. Saudi Arabia, bombing and murdering and killing the people of Yemen. Lebanon, Hezbollah, 2006 and any other time that Hezbollah came in contact with the Zionists, they beat the Zionists. This hasn't happened in modern history amongst the Muslims. So why is Lebanon into so much turmoil, isolation, cut off, It's because who they are. It's because who they are. We're here today, a handful of us here, because who we are. And we're going to stay that way. We're not going to say, don't nobody like us. Well, that's too bad. If you like care, if you like the cowardly Islamic groups and movements, then you're going over there with them. Y'all sit up there in all these big masajids scared, shaking in your knees, by yourself or with yourself. We're not going over there. We didn't have a good time here. We're going to talk about we didn't have a very good time here. It looks like we've been living a life of misery. That's what it looks like from the outside. Man, don't nobody go over there, man. They don't. And to them, their addition and subtraction say, man, they're living a life of misery at Masjid al-Islam. The government is after them. The Zionists is after them, and they've been that's true. And here we are. That's what we're going to talk about today. How happy we are to be alive and well without compromise. We ain't compromised nothing. We ain't gave up nothing. We haven't apologized. We haven't said we're sorry. In fact, when we finish today, we're going to have to explain to you, which we will, so it's on camera, that what we're saying is we're thankful to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for allowing us to be here. In fact, let me try to find that. And Tauban Kala Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam. Min abdin muslimin yakulu iza amsa wa iza asbaha thalathan. Raditu billahi Rabban wa bil Islam dina wa bi Muhammadin sallallahu alayhi wasallam nabiyin ila kana hakkan Allahi an yarditu yawma al-qiyamah. It is related on the authority of Thawban radiallahu anhu that the Prophet of Allah sallallahu alayhi wasallam said, if a Muslim says the following supplication 3 times in the morning and in the evening, Allah has made it incumbent upon him to please him on the day of judgment. I am satisfied with Allah as my Lord, Islam is my religion, and Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam as the messenger of Allah. There's something in the vocabulary of Islam called Tafweed. Tafweed means regulation. That means that you trust in Allah, like Musa alayhi salam, like all of them. Tafweed means that you trust in Allah in regulating your affairs. You turn your affairs, your life, your history, your expectations, you turn that over to Allah. That is called Tafweed. You turn your life over to Allah, and that means for Allah, you're depending on Allah to regulate your affairs, to design your affairs. And all delegation of activities, you turn it over to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And Rida, like we always say after we mention Sahaba radiallahu anhu. So Rida means well pleased or pleased with. Wait a minute, look at what I'm saying. You done turn your affairs over to Allah. You done turn your life over to Allah. You done turn your whole future over to Allah. Why? Because you believe in Allah as Lord. You don't believe in no mankind. You don't believe in none of this dictatorships is having authority over this universal reality, right? So, and you're happy with Allah as Lord. And Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam as the messenger. That means you're satisfied with Quran that Allah gave us. You're satisfied with the hadith. And the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam telling the hadith to back your brother up, support your brother. You know what I mean? The Quran talks about unity, right? And brotherhood and sisterhood and community, right? And it don't tell you when the evil people come, you break out and run. No, it tell you to stick there. Stay on your job, right? Okay. So when you do that and you get what everybody else would be uncomfortable with, right? And you look around, the people would be uncomfortable getting what we get. But as you see on our face and you hear in our khutbah all the time, something is going on. Well, what is wrong with us that everybody else is sitting up in their masajid scared and shaking in their boots, and we over here talking out of the side of our mouth and happy as we can be? Because we're satisfied with Allah as Lord. And Allah tells us what Allah, right? Telling us what to do, and his servant is the perfect guide that he developed out of his mercy for us, right? And the Prophet ﷺ tells you when a brother or a sister is being depressed and oppressed by an oppressor, you stand by them, you help them, you support them. That's what it says, right? Okay, if the other Muslim, what's wrong with the other people? What's wrong with the people in the whole Muslim world when the non-believers destroy Iraq 2 times in a row? First, they got Iran and Iraq fighting each other, from 1988, from 1980 to 1988. And after that, in 91, they come back and destroy it. Their ally with depleted uranium and everything. And the babies in Iraq are born with 3 arms and all kinds. That depleted uranium. Right? That's what's been happening right before our eyes. So we're not about that. Look, they can do what they want. They can come here and be happy with Bush. George Bush is their Lord. They can take him as Lord. They can take this dummy they got now. He can't hardly talk. Can't remember his name hardly. Whatever the president's name is. They ask, right? The man he's 100 years old. Well, 78 or 9. I mean, I'll be 77 in a few days. And look, I have to, sometime I'm trying to remember talking about an ayat or something. Where was that thing? What was I just thinking about? Once my father was looking at me, he wanted me to do something. And you know what? What I realized was he was trying to remember my name. And he just said, boy, do this. Because he was older. And I'm looking right at him. He's looking at me. And what about y'all? A lot of y'all have got a little, how often you looking to go out of something, and you're sitting there and you're thinking, what is that thing I'm getting ready to go out of? This is a door. Everybody knows it. You know it, right? But sometimes you don't. Right? Tell the truth. I know I'm getting on. And so I'm telling you, that's absolutely normal, right? But we're satisfied with that. We're happy with that because that's the qadr of Allah. Allah put it on, some people have said in history that the man is what? He started off on 4 legs, he wound up on 2 legs, then he started back on 3 legs, right? Started off crawling, right? Then he's standing up walking. Then when he get old, he's walking with a cane, 3 legs, 1, 2, 3, the cane. It's just something they say, but I'm telling you, we right here, we call ourselves As-Sabiqun. That means the people who, Sabiq is the winner in the race to go out first. When we observe the world we're living in, it was a world where the people were suffering and afraid. So, As-Sabiqun is those who lead the way. Sayyid Qutb uses 2 terms, and his commentary on those ayats, those who lead the way and those who show the way. He had both of them in his commentary. That's what we're doing. That's what we're doing, and we're doing it consciously. We're doing it consciously because we only have so much. What does it say? Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Wal as innal insana lafi khus illa alladhina amanu wa amilu salihat wa tawasaw bil haqq wa tawasaw bis sabr. The kind of a rendition I like the best is by the gift of time, not just by the time, but one of the great scholars translated, by the gift of time, as it has unfolded through the ages. It's got a lot of parentheses in it because it don't say that in the actual ayat. But What I'm saying is what he said in all this parentheses. His ayat is this long, and he got all this parentheses. By the gift of time. He's saying time is a gift. Your life is a gift from Allah, right? This is something proven through the ages. And what are you going to do with that time? Tell the truth. If we don't use this time, we're not getting any more time. Right? By the gift of time, as it has unfolded through the ages. That means the Quran, go back to history, right? That's what the Quran says. History. First is Quran. In pure words, this is what we want you to do. This is what Allah telling you. Hadith, you have an example in Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. That's what we want. Follow him. If you can't figure it out, just do what he was doing, and you'll be all right, right? He's the living Quran. His wife was asked, what was the character, the akhlaq of the messenger? She said, Kana khuluquhul Quran. His character was the living Quran. Kana khuluquhul Quran. His life was the acting, moving, walking, don't say all that, the Quran. But by the gift of time, as it has unfolded through the ages, recording man's successes and failures. Now, this is a lot right in between the ayats. Between the ayat. Recording man's successes and failures. History. A wonderful, right, enlightenment. That's why the Quran, right? Then the Hadith, then what does it say? Traveling the earth. To do what? See what was the end of those before you, right? So it's telling you about history, right? Something about history, it has its repetitive aspects. It goes around, right? If the Roman Empire rose up and then it crashed down, if the British Empire rose up and the sun never set on the British Empire in the world, that means Africa, India, America, all over the world, the sun never set on the British Empire. And it crashed down. Now you can't hardly find it. Malcolm said it. There's so much fog over there, you can't hardly see it no more. Right? You know, because everybody in London, remember the umbrellas and stuff like that. So they said, look, follow Quran. What Allah tell us? You won't be, don't worry about it. You're going to be all right. If you've got any mysticism about it, well, look at the example. Go on the showroom. The showroom is Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He's going to explain it to you and show you how to do it. And then for some other information that you might be a little lacking in, look at history, right? That's what we use. Quran, right? Everybody know it. The Sunnah of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, history, and what's the fourth one? Our own personal experience. Our own, that's what's left to us, right? We doing what should come natural to us in the process of historical reality right here. That's why we selling wolf tickets to Boss Man, talking crazy and doing everything we want. Nobody else is doing it. They're trying to be rational, and they haven't studied American history. And did we start this last week? No, we've been doing it for 40-something, 50 over. We've been doing it, right? It's all on the cameras. Why we do that? That was a hadith where the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam built a mimbar in the Masjid for Hassan ibn Thabit. He was a poet. And the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam used to say, satirize the enemy. Y'all remember that hadith? Make fun of them. Satirize them. It's just like shooting arrows at them. It's just shooting arrows, weapons. And then he said, Hassan, if you do that, this will give you courage and it will give the people courage. It's like you got a big fight coming up. You got an enemy that's 18 feet tall. He got atomic bombs and everything. And you got to fight him. Ain't nothing you can do. And you going up there looking at all his weapons and what he got to whoop you with, right? You ain't going to do nothing. You're going to be shaking in your boots. So it says, go up there talking out of the side of your mouth. Oh, you big old bum, you ain't nothing. You got all that stuff. Look, you done had the last 5 wars, you done lost them. What are you talking about? What you going to do to us? Now, here we are, just a few of us in the masjid. But you talking out the side of your mouth. Who are you, you big, stupid stumble bum? You can't even keep time. You don't know what time is. What are you doing? You going to do something to us. This is what it is. Wolf tickets, right? I want to tell you, when I first got transferred from a youth joint to the penitentiary in California, they sent me straight to segregation. So, you know, you got one side of the tier, and they put you in there. And before we came out for showers the next day, they had one shower at a time. They fed us in the cell. So anyway, man, I heard one guy, he was down the tier. Now everybody else on the tier knew him. He was talking, you let me out of here. I'm going to bust you upside the head, and he had a deep voice. I'm going to drag you down this tier and clean up this whole penitentiary with your behind. And you just wait. You think I'm jiving? Call the boss man. Tell him, open up these cells. You want to get out here and mess with me? Blah, 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 blah. Then it's shower time. I was, the guy that was doing all that talking walked right by my cell. And he said something, so I recognized his voice. You know, he's talking to the guard. The nigga was 2 feet tall, weighed about 20 pounds. Well, he was bigger than that, I mean. The biggest thing on him was his mouth. But everybody know he was selling wolf tickets, right? Wolf tickets. In our neighborhood, you talk out the side of your mouth. You selling wolf tickets. Everybody know you ain't even thinking about doing that. Right? But selling wolf tickets, I said, wait a minute. I was trying to figure out how he got all that noise and that deep voice, and he was this tall. He was just selling wolf tickets. Everybody liked him. He was just sitting up in sales selling wolf. Man, you don't send me that, because they used to make pruno and stuff in the hole. Pruno, like Raisin Jack. The people would be in the penitentiary in the hole drunk. How did they do it? Let me just tell you. I'll get on back to they had them bugler cans, and then we had, plastic bags. So in the morning, almost every morning, when they sent the trays, they would put 2 tablespoons of sugar on each tray. Right? Then they would put that dried fruit, stewed fruit, right? Which would be apples, raisins, prunes, right? They would put a dipper of that on the tray. So we would collect all of that. We would collect the sugar, and then the bread was made in the penitentiary. And guess what the bread had in it? Yeast. Yes. So we would take them cans, bugler cans, smoke, and soak them in water. And what would rise to the top of that can? Yeast. So it was one guy, he'd be making the drink that day. So everybody would send their fruit, a little bit of sugar, and they send it to his cell. He'd have a sock. And he would put all that stuff in a plastic bag. The sugar, this is fermentation. This is just regular. So you'd have people in the hole drunk. What would he do? Put all that stuff in a plastic bag, and he'd jump up and down on the toilet, pump the water out, and he would hide the thing in the toilet. And then when he get ready, he would take a sock and put all that mash and strain it out. Guess what he'd get? Alcohol. So the police couldn't figure how is these niggas all down here drunk. And they in the hole. I mean, in the hole, you're supposed to not be able to do nothing. And they giving us the means to get drunk. Right? They giving us the means. The diet they feeding us have everything on it that we need to get drunk. That's why they call it pruno, because you make it out of prunes. Anyway, the point I'm making for everybody here, no matter what type of confinement they put you in, there's some way for you to get out of that confinement or some way to relieve yourself of the stress of it. Now, why are we not scared here? Because we're doing just what we're doing right now. Well, you have to pay the cost. They call it a cost, but it's not a cost. We know what the system is going to do, so we have a counter system to deal with him, to deal with them, to deal with the Americans, that is the FBI, CIA, and all that, and to deal with the Zionists. See, right now, the Zionists are controlling America. Not the CIA and FBI and all them people. The Zionists, you can tell by their behavior, which we'll get to in other khutbahs. But what's our duty? Our duty is to jump up right in their face, talking just like we talking now, right? And going on about our business. To show everybody you can do it like we've been doing for the last 50 years. 40, okay, let's say 45 years. We've been doing it. Right? It's recorded. It's outlined. The price that we had to pay is a price they wouldn't want to pay. They're a little afraid. But what Allah, Tafweed, what Allah have delegated for us, right, is the ability to do that and still be here standing up talking crazy. That's our gift. Nobody else can do it. Nobody else not only can't do it, they don't want to do it. Tell the truth. You think I'm lying? Go get you an Imam. Go get one. And get him and stand him up here and have him say one word. If I done said 100 words, you have him say one word. Like he's scared to death. That fear inhibits him, stop him from moving. Okay, now, what have we learned from all of that? By challenging your enemy, it helps you grow and develop. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives you immunity. Gives you immunity from the things that may be harmful to you. And then the Quran tells you Allah will aid you from avenues or from ways you never even comprehend. Okay, we're trying to comprehend a few of the things, but we can't. Allah protecting us from ways we don't even perceive. And we ain't, look, and now this is another phase we go. We're talking like this because we're going through another phase right now. See, we've survived, let's say, well over 40 years in this. 43 years as an Imam with the same vocabulary from Jump Street, right? Okay. Yeah, 43 years, 1980, when we opened our first Masjid in Oakland. We opened it like this. We're still here doing it, and we've been doing it. In the meantime, we've had communities where the place is full. We've had other times when the place is empty. It don't have nothing to do with what we're going to do. Whether it's full or whether it's empty. Anybody that's been here will tell you they got the same discussion. It didn't make no difference whether it was full, right, or whether it was empty. We have never changed our policy because our mission has never changed. We have not allowed the things that come against us to change or alter our mission. I'm going to try to remember, mention a few of them. So, if As-Sabiqun, If we are let's call it the lone survivors from the early years of rebellion in the U.S. Now think about it. All our friends, there was a few left. Imam Jamil was left, but he's been in prison for over 20 years, right? Nice brother, our friend. H. Rap Brown, they used to call him. In America, there was 4 famous in civil rights. Remember Malcolm X, Martin Luther King, remember Stokely Carmichael, and who? H. Rap Brown. Those were the top 4. Call them the big 4. Who was H. Rap Brown? Imam Jamil Abdullah Al-Amin, right? And he's always the target. Because the government don't want no example of somebody, well, what the movement went through this stage and that stage. First it was freedom riders, right? Then it was marches and all of that type of thing, right? Then we had the Black Power movement, Black Power, right? Remember all of that stuff? Right? Then we had underground movement, BLA, Black Liberation Army. A lot of people don't even know there was ever a Black Liberation Army in America. They thought we just had Martin Luther King, he killed Malcolm X, and it was over. No. After Malcolm X passed away, this is when the BLA rose up from him. I got a message the other day from one of the surviving members. There ain't but a few left. And they just said, hey, we checked it out. Was that from... Say cool ding. Yeah, okay. So it's only 3 or 4 left. I don't think it's that many, to tell you the truth. I mean, active ones is 2. One's in Africa and been there building schools and everything. He's been in Tanzania for a long time, 50 years at least. And a few of our brothers that came back, and they went to prison as soon as they found out where they was, And then some of them, most of them passed away. But the only one that's talking like we talking is me. That's my job. I'm praying for Allah. Oh, Allah, give me a direction, a hidayah, a guidance. And this is what it seemed came back. And you can't say, oh, most people do that. I didn't want that. I wanted just maybe a job, a house. That's what I was really thinking about. Not to stand up there talking crazy to the Zionists and the Americans, because they boss that Allah, do you know their record? Of course Allah know their record. They wipes out any and everybody on a regular basis, isn't that right? So that's what Tafweed is. You asking for guidance and delegation, and Allah delegates you that. Rida means you happy with it. You can't say, which most will say, and the devil come up every now and then, you sure you want to do that? And I take old shaitan. A lot of y'all don't know how to deal with it. I take old shaitan. If we're in the masjid, I'll box him upside the head, punch him and slap him all around. Sucker, come over here, grab him by the collar and drag, because it's all in your imagination. Drag him and kick his behind, get to the door and kick his butt on out of here. Who you talking to, sucker? You can't mess with nobody, because it's kind of like Negro mental tricks, right? What's wrong with that? What did Aisha ask the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam when she came, or she followed him one night? He went to the graveside and was praying for the martyrs, remember? And she thought he was going to another wife's house or something. And she said, what made me do that, Rasulullah? He said it was the shaitan. The devil made you do that. And she's thinking, I'm the wife of the prophet, I'm the daughter of Abu Bakr Siddiq. I have a devil? I said, yes. And she said, even thou, Rasulullah? He said, yes, but I have conquered that shaitan, This is the Prophet said, you read Hadith, Sahih Bukhari, Muslim, Muslim is there. I have conquered that shaitan, and now he only suggests good to me. What does that mean? You jump on that, you don't listen to the shaitan, you dictate to the shaitan. You dictate to him, and he'll listen. And then to get any attention, he'll make good suggestions. Although he's a shaitan, this is what happened. Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam says, yes, I have a devil, but I have conquered that shaitan, and now he only suggests good to me. This is in the hadith. Everybody can read it. Isn't that in the hadith? It's in the hadith. That means you have, although you're colored and what have you, you still have the ability to conquer that shaitan. Don't let nobody tell you they made me do it. Ain't nobody made you do nothing. You just got scared and you let a bum that's on his way out the door. Look, I don't want to talk about boss man, but boss man and struck out. Usually you just get the chance to go to 3 strikes. Boss man done struck out 5 times that I can remember. Right? He come up to bat Korea. Right? The Korean War is still technically going on. There's no peace treaty. There was a ceasefire, right? 1950 to 1953. Because he couldn't whip the Koreans. He always talking trash to the Koreans. Well, you go there and why he ain't been over there? He done had 70 years, 60-something years, 68 years to get over there, and he ain't went back, right? He's still talking. You keep messing with me. Look at here. Vietnam, we all know about Vietnam. Them little people, when I was kind of moving around the world, I went to the Vietnamese embassy in Paris before I came back on this side. And it was kind of personal business. The South Vietnamese, the North Vietnamese embassy, not the South, not the North. So I was talking to them, and I looked at them guys, they was this tall. Tell the truth, the Vietnamese was this tall. The tallest one was this here. And they was whooping boss man so bad. Look at here, the Vietnam War. He ain't got back yet. He attack us. 2 big wars in Iraq. The last one, hey, he can do destruction. He destroyed Iraq. But the people still standing up right now, right today. Helped destroy Syria. People still standing up right now, today. Isn't that right? They're standing up today. Right now. They give all these weapons to Saudi Arabia to kill people in Yemen. Wedding parties, blowing up Masjid, it don't make no difference. They can do what they want because they on boss man's side, right? They give them weapons, sell them weapons, anything to keep the Muslims down. That's what they do for their homeboys, their home folks. Use the Muslims against each other. That ain't happening here. And all the brothers on our team and sisters are winning, are hurting but winning. Iran got the U.S. doing what it wanted. We got you a boycott, a sanction, and all of that. Iran is moving right along. In Lebanon, the Hezbollah is the only Arabs that ever whooped the Zionists. The only Arabs that's been whipped the Zionists, 2006, another time. I remember the Zionists, they drove out of Lebanon in 2000. I don't know if y'all remember. They just retreated. They said, we're getting out of here. And then they come back in 2006 and got a tar and feathering whooping. That's what they did. So if you look at the people who we're allied with, we love the people of the Hezbollah of Lebanon. We down with the Islamic Republic of Iran. They're not perfect people. They're just standard people that's got focus on who the enemy of Islam is. We're not down with Saudi Arabia. Well, you don't like Saudi Arabia. They're Qadim al-Haramain. They ain't Qadim al-Haramain, protector of the two holy shrines. They're bums. They're idiots. The Quran does not allow, the Hadith don't allow one group of Muslims to slaughter another group of Muslims. That's against the concepts in Islam, 100%. So all of our allies, whether it's Iran, when you look at Yemen, they holding on with all that against them. So Iranians are holding on, Yemenis are holding on, and Syria been just blasted to death. It's still holding on. Iraq been blasted to death twice, still holding on. We here got a handful of people here, and we ain't even thinking about. In fact, guess what? We'll talk about it at our program this weekend. We're going on the offensive against the system. Yes, we are. That's trash talking. Now, when we start talking trash, I want y'all to remember what we said. We're satisfied with Allah as Lord, with Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam as the messenger, and Islam Adina. Because the way we're going to phrase it is that we whooping boss man. Yeah, we're doing this to you, boss, to make him mad. But we're not doing it. It's Allah. So we just want to make that clear. This is about the 10th time we said that, but we want to make sure that the Muslims are sure we know what we're doing. We're not saying, we whooping the white man, we whooping the Zionists, we doing this. No, it's Allah doing it. Look at the West now. The West is crumbling. If it lasts another week, it's doing a good job. Tell the truth. Inflation, they want to solve one problem. Tell the truth. We're going to give all of y'all a big check for I don't know how much. You know, they said, even I got a check. I ain't got nothing from the government and I don't know when. It wasn't nothing, but, they must have looked up in the record and say, you old enough to get a check or something. All that money they gave away, all that money, go to the grocery store. Everything that was $1, I went the other day and I just was buying, I know to do a lot of cooking we buy is not halal, but it's nice margarine instead of using butter in the food because butter burns quick. Margarine, you could cook stuff in it. Now, if you want the stuff to be brown, you can put butter in it. You put butter in it after you cooked it in margarine, right, to give it that good flavor and taste. So I used to buy right there at Giant. Last year, the margarine was 99 cents. Yesterday, it was, I think, 179. That's within a year. What else y'all buy? Y'all buy stuff y'all know better than me, right? What they gave away to the people, it costs, they didn't cause more inflation from the giveaway of money. They say rent didn't increase 40%. I don't believe that. That's too much. I mean, y'all know better than me, but I'm just listening to the radio, public radio. They say, in America, right, rent has increased. That's if you hadn't had your rent in a signed contract. But general, like if you rented something for $1,000, then now it's $1,400, right? So the money they gave away, all they did is just cause inflation. They're finished, I put it that way. Now, what about us? The Quran says, by the gift of time as it is unfolded through the ages, recording man's successes and failures. Surely man is in a state of loss, except those who believe and do good and join together in the mutual teachings of truth, patience, and constancy. I don't care what you do. It's a waste of time. All the people trying to get a big house and get a big car. At this time when there's a war on the Muslims, during this period, this is the time when we lock together and work together and praise Allah as a unit, right? The hadith says there's no barrier between the da'i, the one making dua, right, and Allah. So if you're praying for help and assistance, there's no petition. There's no barrier between you and Allah. This is hadith, you can read it anywhere. And then, As-Sabiqun. Those who go out first, that's our name. Those who win in a race. As-Sabiqun have certain characteristics. They go out and get a job done not only before anybody recognizes it, but they go out and do the job, get it done, and they go on about their business. They don't hang around for cheers and claps. They just go to the next job. Sabiq, pioneers, those who, if there's some land that needs to be flattened and cleared, the Sabiqun go out and do it. Sayyid Qutb refers to them as those who lead the way, right? And the other part, he says those who show the way. So whatever we do, that's what we're trying to do here. Okay. Evolution, well, that's too much to talk about today. But counteroffensive, that's for real. Evolution, Masjid al-Islam strikes back. Y'all remember seeing what's this movie? What's the name? Empire Strikes Back, right? Well, this Masjid al-Islam strikes back. That means that we're striking back at Boss Man. Right now, we're in the process of an evolutionary right today, right now, the programs we're having, where within a certain time we want to be at a certain level, and then at another time at a certain level, Masjid al-Islam strikes back. That's what we're doing. Don't make no difference how many people, right? Because the Quran tells us Allah will help you from avenues you don't know nothing about. Us being here right now for all of these decades mean that we've been getting help from somewhere. You think a big mouth Negro can fight the whole government by themselves and they just drag them down the street and bust them upside the head? If they haven't done it, something is protecting them, right? We can give this khutbah right now because there's some aura, some protection. And we know it. Or let's say we believe it and we look at the history, we say, well, let me see, I couldn't have got away with this, couldn't have got away with that. Because you look at everybody else, you say, somebody's looking out for us. And that somebody, some being, got to have power over all of this stuff, right? Because it ain't no human being can do it, because they'll put the human being in the penitentiary. Or they'll have a sniper team shoot the human being. Or they'll send them to the poorhouse. Or anything else they want to do, right? So that's why it says Allah will protect you and guide you from avenues you never even thought about. In other words, that help will be coming. You can't sit down and let me see, we're going to get help from this way, that way, and you're sitting there with your notebook full of ways that Allah going to help you, right? Well, if you got a notebook and you're a human being, Boss Man got a notebook too, and a computer, and he punch all of those. Let me see, what way can that nigga get any help? Da-da-da-da-da. And you can write down 50 ways, and he can write down 985,000 ways that you can get help, right? Because he's got all these big computers. But you're gonna get help from ways he ain't thought about. Not only he and his system ain't thought about it, but you haven't thought about it either. I'm just trying to build up our hope in the future. We don't want to be a hopeless people that sit around and they won't fix the air, they won't fix the water. Well, you fix it, right? Boss Man ain't going to fix it unless he gets some money for it, right? Yeah, he'll clean the water up if you build a $50 zillion water cleaning system that he don't have to pay for, right? Do you know, and I'm going to close with this. Somebody was saying that I was reading, I'll be listening. It says in the near future, or it already is, more plastic in the ocean than it is fish. And they find fish that starve to death. You know how they starve to death? They eat the plastic and they can't digest it. And they cut the fish open and it's a big block of plastic. And today, this stuff happens all the time. So they're saying there's more more plastic in the ocean than it is fish. What kind of crackpot would allow that to happen on a beautiful creation like this, that Allah gave it to us in perfect balance? Isn't that right? And not close, but it's getting off balance. Look at the weather here today. Do you know what month this is? This is the East Coast. It's Washington, D.C. And it's February 11th. And it's over 60 degrees outside. When I got here, it was only 30 years ago, 32, you would freeze to death in February. I mean, technically freeze. The brothers here that have any age on them remember 3 feet of snow, 4 feet of snow. Snow everywhere during this part of the year. Every year. Several times a year. Right? Right here in D.C. Now, if you get 2 inches of snow, everybody, the whole school closed down. They can't even walk. People be hollering, "It's 2 inches of snow outside." School closed everywhere. D.C., Virginia, Maryland, right? 2 inches of snow. 2 inches, which is going to melt in 20 minutes, right? When you can, I ain't got no shirt on under here. I mean, a little shirt. I ain't got no coat on, and it's February on the East Coast, and I'm gonna walk right on outside like it ain't nothing. Yeah. Why? Somebody messing up. It's abnormal. The climate, the weather, and the people are abnormal. The people not doing what's right for themselves. Dear believers, we'll just read one more ayat and wrap it up. See if we can get to it here. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Name of Allah, most gracious, most merciful. O you believe, when you meet the unbelievers in hostile array, never turn your backs on them. But when you meet the unbelievers, don't turn them and break out running and hide. If any of you do turn his back to them on such a day, unless it be a stratagem of war, unless it's a strategy, or to retreat to a troop of his own, he draws on himself the wrath of Allah, and his abode is hell, an evil refuge indeed. I just wanted to read that there's tactics and there's strategies in the art of warfare. We're in a war and we know we're in a war. And everybody looks at Boss Man like he's just unbeatable. It reminds us of the story of David and Goliath, when the Quran and the Bible are similar. But there's a little added point I just want to make. But when everybody else looked at Goliath, they called everybody and said, "Boy, look at here. This guy is too big to hit." Isn't that right? That's what everybody said. Can't hit him. He's too big. Then they got David. He used a slingshot all the time, to run the sheep around and keep them straightened up. When he looked at him, he had a different attitude. He said, that guy is too big to miss. I can't miss him. Same reality, it's his attitude. Now, it don't say this in the Quran, but it says that, biblically, of course, that David took 5 smooth stones from the brook, from the river. And where stones, the water running through, years and years, the stones are smooth. So David took 5 stones that was aerodynamically developed, that he knew how they would fly. Right? And he didn't use all 5 of them. He took that slingshot, and one of them hit Goliath right in his thinking center. Didn't kill him. He just fell down dazed. Then David took the sword and cut his head off. So you have an enemy, how you going to see him? Too big to hit. America's too big to hit. The Zionists is too big to hit. Too big to hit. Can't miss them. Wherever you throw, you're going to hit them. Isn't that right? I'm just saying. Wherever you throw, you're going to hit them. And we're going to hit them. Like we here talking crazy, talking out the side of my mouth. We going to whoop boss man. You just sit there and wait. Get you a seat. We going to whoop him. Now, remember what I said when I said I'm talking out the side of my mouth. Do not get the chit-chat confused, with what we're saying about boss man. We out to make boss man mad. We out to make the Zionists mad. So the Zionists and Americans, see, they don't believe in mystical secret help. So when we talk to them, we talk to them like we doing this. I'm a bad nigga. What's wrong with you? Crackers running around here trying to get rid of me. I'm Imam Musa. I'm the baddest nigga in the world. What you little old weakling, little old cracklers, or little old weak CIA. You do that to other people. Do it to me, sucker. You so bad. That's wolf tickets, right? That is professional wolf tickets. I'm saying that. I don't believe that. I know it ain't true. He don't. You know why? He don't believe in God. He don't believe in a supreme being. He think if this magic going on, only thing he can think is the nigga doing it. What is it? And then we tell him, see, we got special voodoo. When we come over from Africa, we brought stuff with us. It work on you, sucker. You don't, Not that Africans, when I used to live in there, and I'll close, when I used to live in East Africa a lot. In those days, this is over 50 years ago, Africans had just started driving, and a lot of them would have a good luck charm. They drove real crazy. But you know what? They thought that good luck charm they had hanging there would protect them. They'd be running in the trees, running off cliffs, and everything. Now, we from here, we ain't had no good luck charm. We know you got to drive correctly, right? But they believed in it. One big party, the Negroes, we was all at a big party, and then they had Africans with PhDs, and then our Negroes here was well educated. But if you in a house, say like if we were in East Africa right now, it would be lizards and everything all over right on the wall. You know why? And they would be trying to change color. They would think that they didn't change to white, and you can't see it. But that does not exist in there, so they can't change that color. So when we was in East Africa, when we would see that stuff in the house, the brother said, leave them things alone. They clean up the house. They eat up all the flies, right? All of them. And then the dummies, they're not dumb, but they're animals, so there's no white like that. The abnormal colors that we make, they don't have them in nature, so they stand out. You can see them everywhere, right? You can just see them there in the house. But nobody gets rid of them. So I remember once we was at a party and this snake. So the Negroes from here was getting ready to knock that snake in the head, and they had dropped their drinks and everything. So the brother said, that could be one of our ancestors. Not the Muslims, these are Africans. That could be one of our ancestors. I said, you mean a snake? So the Negroes left them alone. They had PhDs. They thought, both of them, the Negroes had PhDs and the Africans had PhDs. They said, man, that could be, because remember, they got different things going on back home. And there are many Muslims in Africa, but some places, and then a lot of times the Islam is mixed up with a little bit of juju, you know what I mean? A little bit of magic and stuff like that. I'm not down on nobody. I'm just saying what I have experienced and seen. So they said, they're going to go kill the snake. And the brother said, that might be one of the ancestors. I said, the snake? I said, it was a long time ago, evolution. I said, we ain't been snakes for a billion, trillion years. I mean, I know we never was a lot, but, just joking. Dear believers, why don't we work collectively? Wouldn't you just like to whoop boss man's behind? Tell the truth. I know you would in your heart. Give it a try. All they can do is get killed. That's all they can do is kill you. Hey, you'll go to heaven. If you get killed in the way of Allah, you'll go to heaven. A lot of people, they believe it in their heart, but not in their spirit, in their action. 99% of the Muslims probably believe in Allah and prophethood and all what they read in the Quran, but they a little timid when it comes to test driving it. Let's see if it's really right. They say, yeah, I believe it, but hey, man, what about my house? What about my car? What about my job? What about the hundreds of dollars a month I send back home to her wife, her family, and my family, right? Because I got a good job here in America. All that stuff start adding up, right? So your faith get tried and tested from time to time. Oh Allah, we seek thy refuge from anxiety and grief. We seek thy refuge from lack of strength and laziness. We seek thy refuge from cowardice and niggardliness. We seek thy refuge from being overpowered by debt and the oppression of men. O Allah, suffice us with what is lawful. Keep from us what is prohibited. With thy grace, make us free from want of what is besides thee. Ameen. Iqamat as-salat.